get a Bitcoin strategic reserve where the government is buying Bitcoin, and there's a bill from Senator Lummis that had the government buy 1 million Bitcoin, $200,000 Bitcoin is going to be looking quaint. You're going to be looking at $300,000, $400,000, $500,000 Bitcoin. It's just too big a story because governments all around the world would have to do it. When this initial idea was floated, I was somewhat skeptical.
It's like Ethereum. People are talking so much about this rise in Bitcoin, and I'm wondering if you just see as good opportunities anywhere else.
No, I mean, Ethereum has caught a bid here after trailing Bitcoin for a long time. It's the center of stablecoins. It's the place where you go to do DeFi things. It has the most TVL from a DeFi perspective out there. The NFT market is still largely on Ethereum. There's a lot of good things to say about it, and I think it will continue to do well here for the foreseeable.
Hey, Nick, I want to talk a little bit about a strategic Bitcoin reserve. A lot of folks we've been talking to over the last few weeks think it is something that is likely going to happen under the Trump administration. You're not one of those folks. Why do you not see one happening?
It depends what we mean by strategic reserve. If we're talking about a stockpile and just holding the Bitcoin the U.S. government has already seized, unclear how much they have right now. They might be selling off some of those coins. I think we can reasonably expect that to happen. Trump's been clear on that front. If we're talking about Cynthia Lummis's bill buying 1 million Bitcoins over 5 years, acquiring more Bitcoins for the U.S. government, or even potentially moving away from the existing dollar system to a Bitcoin-backed system, I don't think that's likely. I don't see support in Congress for that. Congress would have to authorize that. I don't believe that it would be prudent, frankly, for the U.S. government to signal a move away from the dollar system, move to a commodity standard based on Bitcoin. Any other nation state, it makes sense for them to acquire Bitcoin, and they are, Bhutan, El Salvador, that's fine. The U.S. is the issuer of the global reserve currency. We shouldn't do something that would call into question our own solvency. So even though I am a Bitcoiner, and it would certainly benefit me if the U.S. government started buying Bitcoin, I'm also an American, and I don't think it would benefit anyone if we were to shake confidence in global markets by implying that the dollar is at risk.
Lockheed Martin recently completing its first ever autonomous demo of the HIMARS, driving and commanding the rocket launcher without human intervention, as you can see right there on the screen. HIMARS, which is used to launch ATACMS and Gimler's missiles, is used in 20 countries, perhaps best known in recent years for its role in Ukraine's fight against Russia. Now, this is the first time, though, that this testing is being done and is being reported. Tim Cahill, president of Missiles and Fire Control for Lockheed Martin, calls this first autonomous test a breakthrough.
This allows us to deploy them without crews. So reduces the manpower requirements, first of all. And second, it starts to bring a capability of AI into these systems to allow us to deploy them flexibly in ways we might not be able to before. So you can imagine now these systems might be garaged or might be located somewhere offline, and we could rapidly bring them to bear. Any of our allies could rapidly bring them to bear without deploying a crew or without doing something in the middle of the night that they might not be ready to do. So it's the autonomous systems don't care. They're ready to go 24 hours a day at a moment's notice.
Consensus out there. I mean, ING has that 5% mark, JP Morgan Asset Management. I mean, a number of shops out there have 5% baked in for next year. Mm-hmm. But I guess the question is, the T-Row note indicated a lot of sort of technical reasons why the 10-year would go to, including other countries not wanting to buy our treasuries. And so does that matter that it's those factors that would drive yields higher?
Well, you'd want yields to be higher because the economy is doing well, right? Obviously, you want that, and that's the scenario you're talking about, where yields are higher because things are sort of, the economy's growing and growing nicely. That 6% number, though, I think that starts to get into a bad spiral, right? And if the government needs to fund itself at 6, right? We're at, I think our average debt now is maybe 3.3. At me if that's materially wrong, but that's a very significant shift. So that they aren't talking about 6 right away, sort of a stop at 5, and then it could move to 6. That 6 to me is a scary scenario, but I think the market can handle 5 if it's sort of for the right reasons, not Japan pulling back, China pulling back as buyers of U.S. debt.
Yeah.
Welcome to the Crypto Teacher, and I come back with that video just to make you think. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel.
And make sure you're joining the Patrons. If you're not a part of the Patrons, make sure you're hitting the Cash App. And also, guys, make sure you go like and follow the TikTok. More videos to come. And I apologize for a late video again tonight. Had to go shopping for King's class. We know times are bad, so I tried to do a little extra for the kiddos. And I have something funny I'm going to put in the Patreon about the video I did last night. Guys, AI is getting smarter and smarter. And it just exposed something that I already knew, but it's hilarious. Now, will the government launch a Bitcoin reserve? And like I told you guys, if they can get Bitcoin for free, why would they buy it? We know for a fact these central banks, though, are buying up all this gold. And Ethereum is definitely a major player. We know Ethereum is all about utility. Bitcoin is the narrative that they're building in order to move us over to the digital economy. But the real utility is in Ethereum. Even when you look at Solana, it's mainly meme coins. But when you're talking about changing everything that we do when it comes to this economy, Ethereum is definitely going to have its hands in it. And again, when you look at the Bitcoin reserve and you understand the fourth industrial revolution, it only works if the machines are going to be using Bitcoin. And remember, the Cryptoteacher told you. Now we have the military going autonomous, and we know they've been using drones forever. We know how the NWO does. They test this technology in the military, and I've been over that time and time again on YouTube and in the Patreons. And then they turn around and bring it to the people when they're done with it. And the military would no longer need bodies. And every drums a beating was caused by the banks to move an agenda. And this next one is all about the new NWO, the rise of the BRICS nations, and the fall of America to Babylon. And remember, the Cryptoteacher told you. And we have Fed Jerome Powell in the House tomorrow. And everyone knows next year these yield rates are going to start popping. After Jerome Powell leaves, it's going to start moving up anyway. But they're really going to be moving up next year. And then on top of it, the Fed has to pause because you clearly see inflation is not going anywhere. It's getting worse. We all know we're going shopping. Everything is going up. Nothing is coming down like Janet Yellen told us. Prices are not coming down. And we know why. It's a few corporations that own everything. They just go by 1,000 different names. But we know this is part of the plan. They want to destroy this legacy market so the fourth industrial revolution can rise. Whether robots, algorithms, and drones take the economy over, pay each other with crypto, and the sheep go inside the metaverse. And remember, the Cryptoteacher told you. And we have the movie continues with the government shutdown, but guys, we know all the entertainment start next year. They're going to extend this until March. And of course, that's when Trump and Elon is in and Doge is about to get busy. The government is going to start cutting a lot of jobs. And remember, guys, the only reason why employment was looking so wonderful because the government had its hand in it some type of way due to funding. But now these big corporations are going to step up these layoffs because we know it's the rise of the machines. And then we have Trump on TikTok. Trump gets into office, I think, on the 20th. The ban kicks in on the 19th. And TikTok is an economy all by itself. And remember, the Cryptoteacher told you. Because he knows. When it comes to the NWO, it's all planned out. You have a wonderful day.
Framework bill to fund the government and avert a shutdown hasn't been the slam dunk that Speaker Johnson had hoped for. Now, a main sticking point has been aid for farmers. And joining us right now is Jake Sherman, co-founder of Punchbowl News. He's also a NBC and MSNBC political contributor. Good morning to you. We always say, I don't know. Do we know how the movie plays out and it just goes to the 11th hour and then there's a deal and that's what the movie is? Or does the movie take a different twist this time, Jake?
The movie is going to take the same twist as it always does, but it's just a tortured movie that you want to run out of the theater with a bag on your head. Andrew, here's the deal. Mike Johnson has said for a year now, more than a year, that he was done with this Christmas era, big picture, big bill legislating. And here we are on December 17th. And the government shuts down on December 20th, and we have nothing to show for it. Now, Johnson is trying to get an economic aid package for farmers, and Democrats don't want that, and they are holding him hostage for it, as Republicans would do to Democrats if there was something that Democrats wanted and Republicans didn't. Listen, at the end of the day, this shows to be a few things. Number one, it shows how difficult it is to change Washington. The more things change, the more they stay the same. And number two, we're going to be back in this place on March 14th with an all-Republican Washington, with expectations extremely high, with Donald Trump trying to pass a very large and ambitious agenda. I think we're going to see a lot of difficulty there as well.
We'll take a look at TikTok. You know, I have a warm spot in my heart for TikTok because I won youth by 34 points. And there are those that say that TikTok has something to do with that.
He did not win the youth vote, we should point out, Mike, but it does seem he's making the point that he knows if TikTok goes away, it might be a problem for young voters. TikTok today asked the Supreme Court to block this ban, but is there anything, considering this was a law passed by both chambers of Congress and signed, that Trump can really do to stop this?
There are ways that he can stop this, but the ban technically takes effect the day before he becomes president, so there would probably be at least some temporary interruption. It doesn't look like any court's going to step in, but there are ways that the president has of executing the law that can help TikTok.
Going to a different economy, and we're going to be learning more about that as we go, but clearly we're learning that things can be done from remote locations. We're learning that technology can replace people even more than we thought.
We're not going back to the same economy. We're recovering, but to a different economy, and it'll be one that is more leveraged to technology. And I worry that is going to make it even more difficult than it was for many workers.
In Silicon Valley, and my friends who work in technology know that what we did to the manufacturing workers, we are now going to do to the retail workers, the call center workers, the fast food workers, the truck drivers, and then even bookkeepers, accountants, insurance agents, lawyers, and on through the economy. So what happened to the manufacturing workers is a very clear sign.
And so we'll import Chinese-based CBDC technology. So it's going to be CBDC in a box provided to you by the People's Bank of China. But every stock, every bond, every currency, every commodity, every piece of art, every private business, every piece of real estate will eventually be a token on a blockchain, an entry on a ledger, permanent and immutable. We will have truth instead of trust, and we will save over $7 trillion a year. 6 to 8% of global GDP is wasted by the friction of the trust industry that's necessary when you have dual entry accounting. With triple entry accounting, which is what a blockchain is, we get rid of all of that friction. It's a beautiful future.
Like what you see in China and their social credit scoring systems, right? If we get identity wrong, it could be a tool to enslave humanity. And if we get it right, it could be a tool to liberate humanity. And as an American, I'm obviously rooting for the one that's on the side of freedom.
Bitcoin is an international asset. And also, I do believe the role of crypto is, it's digitizing gold.
I actually believe this technology is going to be very important. Look at it. We have been part of the huge revolution in investing through ETFs. We believe that ETFs will be changing the whole way we invest. Many people still use it as a means, people are investing it for indexing. No, the majority of people who are putting money in ETFs are active investors that are buying exposure. The entire bond market is being transformed as we talk right now. I believe the next generation for markets, the next generation for securities will be tokenization of securities. We will, and if we can have that distributed ledger that we know every beneficial owner, every beneficial seller, we all have our code of who's buying, who's selling, instantaneous settlement. And think about it, it changes the whole ecosystem.
Chinese bank ICBC has been hit by a ransomware attack, and the U.S. Treasury market, as a result of that, has been disrupted. This, according to the Financial Times. We're getting at more right now with Bloomberg's Shonali Bassick. Shonali, what do we know?
Listen, we have the Financial Times now reporting that ICBC, one of China's largest banks here, was hit with a ransomware attack. And remember, they're a very significant intermediary in the Treasury market. The SIFMA has told its members that this has been part of the reason here that the system is kind of clogged up, if you will, during that auction that we saw a little bit before. The attack had prevented ICBC, according to the Financial Times, from settling Treasury trades on behalf of other market participants. A large executive at a major bank also telling the paper that such a large party on the fixed income clearing corp creates major concerns, potentially impacting the liquidity of Treasury markets.
Now, it was not just a poor auction. It was absolutely lousy, and you know, when the dealers have to step in to save a treasury auction, that's a rare occurrence. And
Cryptoteacher and the New World Order book, plus the 3 Kids books, It's Time to Re-Educate. Also, new to cryptos, Coinbase, Bitrue, Binance. Do not forget book links and crypto links are in the description. The stock channel, guys. Don't forget to go like, subscribe, spread everywhere. You have your Kobo, your chip stocks, your banking, your gaming. While everybody's sitting at home, get on stocks, the Seaver, the biotech stocks. And while everybody's at home wishing, they were still getting that free money. What are they doing? Drinking and smoking weed. Don't forget about those stocks, and you have a wonderful day. The most powerful person in the world is the storyteller. The storyteller sets the vision, values, and agenda of an entire generation to come. Steve Jobs. And guys, you know I truly believe in this. When you look at the New World Order, they're the storytellers. And that's the reason why I wrote my New World Order book. But guys, now it's time to change the current generation. And I wrote 3 kids books. You know I love the Trinity because I understand the power that's in it. So I have 3 books. We have an opportunity to change the generation, to educate, not just me, but I want to show you that I take action on a daily basis. And I want you to take action on a daily basis. Whether it's your job, whether it's in your community, we have an opportunity right now to educate the masses. I posted this on my Twitter account. Please share, but this is a short clip of the 3 books. There's going to be a clothing line and action figures. Please get these books for your kids, nephews, cousins, friends, so therefore we can start the re-education now. Because as we see, the 4th Industrial Revolution foundation is definitely here. Robots, algorithms, drones, taking humanity out the picture. We have to re-educate. But let's get into the video.
Part 1. King Joshua and Grandma Tam save the village. Part 2. King Joshua and Grandma Tam save New York from COVID-33. Part 3. King Joshua and Grandma Tam goes to China.
It's mandatory to get part 1, part 2, and part 3 of this series. It's time to re-educate Generation Z.